Lesson Day. Today, we are about to discuss Health Aid, Part 1, Family Health. In this video lesson, we will discuss Lesson 1, Gender and Human Sexuality. Lesson 2, Dimension of Sexuality. Lesson 3, Factors that affect one's attitude and related to sexuality and sexual behavior. With the learning competencies, discuss the basic terms in sexuality as an important component of one's personality. Explains the dimensions of human sexuality. Analyzes the factors that affect one's attitudes and practices related to sexuality. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to first, recognize important terms in human sexuality. Second, identify sexuality as an important component of one's personality. Third, identify the importance and dimensions of human sexuality. Fourth, analyze factors that affect one's attitudes and practices related to sexuality. And last, relate the importance of sexuality to family health. Before we proceed to the proper lesson, let us see how much knowledge you have in our lesson by doing the free test. You will be given 5 seconds to answer each question. Are you ready? Number 1, what term defines a man or woman based on biological characteristics? A, sex, B, gender, C, sexuality, D, androgyny. 5 seconds starts now. If your answer is A, you got it right. Next, which of the following illustrates gender? A, Miguel loves to cook. B, Marco does to cry in public. C, Hazel has a positive body image. D, Ahmed is attracted to Felicity. Timer starts now. And the correct answer is letter D. Ahmed is attracted to Felicity. Next, what do you call the set of activities that society considers as appropriate to men and women? A, gender role. B, gender identity. C, gender equality. D, gender sensitivity. Your timer starts now. And the answer is gender role. Fourth question, why is it important to understand human sexuality? A, we will be mature adults. B, we will be seeing their sexuality issues. C, there is a specific age for developing one's sexuality. D, it will help us build a better relationship with ourselves and others. Your timer starts now. And the correct answer is letter D. And for the last question, which characterizes a good decision? A, easy to make. B, make your friend happy. C, one that teacher told you to make. D, arrived at after a thoughtful consideration of consequences. Timer starts now. And the correct answer is letter D. Did you get all the correct answers? If yes, you're doing a good job. When you were in grade 7, you learned about holistic health and its role in its growth and development. You also gained knowledge about nutritional needs and eating problems of adolescents. You also discovered that mental and emotional health play important roles in the overall well-being of a person. And finally, you found out that non-communicable diseases are not caused by pathogens, but rather by how people live and by the condition those are born with and the hazards around them. We are now about to begin the proper lesson. Are you familiar with these symbols? Can you name them all? The first symbol means gender equality. The second symbol means female or male. The third is male or female, which we usually see in the public comfort room. Did you name them all? If yes, very good. It is time now for unlocking of difficulties or definition of terms. What is sex? Sex is the classification of people as male or female, typically assigned at birth based on the appearance of external anatomy. Where do we usually see the word sex? Sex is what we see in our birth certificate because sex is the biological basis of being a male or female. It is different from gender. What is gender? Gender is a social concept on how men and women should think, feel, and act. Meaning, you should act based on your sex, if you are male or a female. Next is sexual preference. Sexual preference is a term that describes what a person prefers or likes to do in a sexual context. Gender identification is one's innermost concept of self as male, female, and blend of both or neither how individuals perceive themselves and what they call themselves. One's gender can be the same or different from their sex assigned at birth. Sexual preference and gender identification are most alike. It is both preferred by the person depending on his or her choice, whether he or she likes to act opposite from his or her sex. Bisexual is a sexually attracted not exclusively to people of one particular gender, attracted to both men and women. For example, crushes. There are some people who are both attracted to both men and women. Next is homosexual. Homosexual is romantically or sexually attracted to people of their own gender. The term gay is frequently used as a synonym for homosexual. Female homosexuality is often offered to as lesbian. Homosexual simply means attracted to the same sex, male to male, female to female. Gay for a male, lesbian for a female. How about transgender? It is an umbrella term that describes people whose gender identity or expression does not match the sex they were assigned at birth. Some transgender people desire medical assistance to transition from one sex to another, identify as transsexual. Gender and human sexuality is an important component of one's personality. So what is sexuality? Sexuality is everything about being a male or female. It is the most important aspect in masculine or feminine identification. So how sexuality is important? Sexuality is important because it provides a sense of self-worth when sexual understanding is positive. Sexuality also involves a name given at birth, toys played with, the clothes worn, the friends played with, and the roles and responsibilities at home. Sexuality also refers to your total self, including physical self, the way you look as a man or a woman, the way you dress up, the way you cut your hair. Next is mental self, the way you think as a man or a woman. Next, social self, the way you interact with others. Who do you like most to be with? Is it more on boys or more on with the girls? Emotional self, the way you feel about yourself and others. And of course, the ethical self, the way you value yourself, relationship. Dimension of sexuality is a part of your total personality. It involves the interrelationship of biological, psychological, and cultural dimensions. So, as we go through the lesson, you will understand how these three dimensions affect your sexuality. Biological. The biological dimension of sexuality involves our physical appearance, especially the development of physical sexual characteristics. So, in biological, it affects our physical appearance, the changes in our physical. For example, biological involves gender, genetics, reproduction, fertility control, the physical appearance, the growth, and the development. Psychological. The psychological dimensions of sexuality often include the cognitive and the emotional factors underpinning sexual response, personality and psychopathology related variables, social cognitive variables, interpersonal or relationship variables, and cultural aspects influencing sexual functioning and behavior. So, what is this psychopathology? When we say psychopathology, it is the scientific study of mental disorder. For better understanding, these are examples of psychological dimension: emotions, experiences, self-concept, motivation, expressiveness, learned attitudes, and behaviors. So under psychological dimension, it affects our mental. How does social cultural affect us? For example, religious influences, multicultural influences, socioeconomic influences such as income and education, and also political influences. Factors affecting sexual attitudes and behavior. So there are factors that really affects our attitudes and behaviors. Some of these are, of course, our sexual. Sexual is relating to the two sexes or to gender. What are the two sexes? It is being a male or a female. And of course, we have here the behavior. It is the way something moves, functions, or reacts. Our behavior also affects our attitude, the way we think and feel about someone or something. Precisely, sexuality of individual directs individual's attitude and behavior. Although being a man and a woman differs their perspective of human sexuality, sexuality, attitude, and behavior are interrelated because somehow an individual will create or think action based on this aspect. Other factors that affect our sexuality and behavior are: first, our family, religion, multiculturalism, socioeconomic status, peers, and the media. These factors have great impact to our sexuality. And to summarize this lesson, please do not forget that sex is the biological basis of being male or female, while gender refers to femininity or masculinity of a person's role or behavior as defined by society. Also, sexuality refers to total self, physical, mental, social, emotional, and ethical self. And lastly, and the most important, family, religion, multiculturalism, socioeconomic status, peers, and media have a great impact in affecting our sexual attitudes and behavior. And as part of the wrap up, there are hidden words in this puzzle that we had encountered in the discussion. Can you find them all? So we have here 3 horizontal and 2 vertical. So in this puzzle, we have first, family. Next, gender, sexuality, biological, and Did you find them all? If you did, great job! Do you more appreciate yourself now? It is important to have a clear outlook of yourself so you will be able to focus on your good points and develop your weaknesses. If you know yourself well, you will know what you must do to stay healthy. That's how sexuality important is to a man and a woman. After viewing and listening to this video lesson, do not forget to do these exercises as your homeschool work for today. Worksheet number 1 and 2, Health 8 Math First Quarter. Thank you for taking this video lesson. Have a nice day.